Welcome back to the Short Attention Span Bible. I'm your host, Jason. In this episode, we're going to be going over James chapter 4. Just a quick introduction to the show. As usual, I'm not here to preach or to convert anyone. If the show sounds preachy at times, it is the Bible, so it may sound preachy. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. He begins by asking where wars and fighting and conflicts come from, and says that these external conflicts come from desire and lust within ourselves. Again, lust can be the more traditional definition that we're all familiar with, but it can also refer to lust for money and power, etc. He goes on to say, you desire, but you don't have, so your frustration turns to conflict. But you don't have because you don't ask. So you ask, but you still don't receive, because you ask with the wrong intentions in your heart. You ask from a place of greed, and God is not in the business of catering to your greed. Friendship with the world makes you an enemy of God. If you are chasing after worldly things, you are running away from God. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. If you submit yourself to God and resist the devil will flee from you. Draw close to God, and he will draw close to you. Cleanse your hands of sin and purify your hearts. And don't be double-minded. Be devoted. Be focused. Be truly mournful of your sinful ways and humble yourself before God, and he will lift you up. When you speak poorly of others and judge them, you speak evil of God's law and judge God's law. That's how God sees it. If you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge. There's only one lawgiver who is able to save and destroy. Who are you to judge anyone else? It's not your place. Okay, in James chapter 4, verses 13 and 14, he says, don't get too attached to your plans. That's arrogant and presumptuous, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? It's not even a mist that appears briefly and then it's gone. It's dissipated. This reminds me of a non-biblical quote that I like. It says, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. That's by Woody Allen. Not a huge Woody Allen fan, but I love that quote. Makes a lot of sense. If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Because you have no idea. And there are things that are outside of your control. And things can change. You all live life. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Instead, James goes on to say, instead, you ought to say or hold the attitude that if the Lord wills it, we will do this or we will do that. Keep that humility. Not everything is in your control. You've heard the phrase, God willing, it won't rain tomorrow, or God willing, I'm going to get this job. That's what that means. You have your hopes. You do try to make plans, but you do it humbly in recognition that it's not entirely up to you. James continues to say, boasting about your plans, which are not entirely in your control or not totally up to you, doing that is evil. If you know what is right and you don't do it, that is a sin. That's it. That is James chapter 4. Again, this has been the Short Attention Span Bible. I've been your host, Jason. If you enjoyed the show, please click like or subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening.